Hi, my name is Garrett Mingelino, aka the Blood Spider. I'm an inventor and a content creator from Chicago, Illinois. So far, my custom web fluid formula has been the standard in the community and has been featured both by the Human Spider and the Amazing. While I do prefer to keep my formulas to myself and my Patreons. In a layman's explanation, it's an acrylic-based polymer resin strengthened by surfactants, plasticizer, and emulsifiers. When combined with a specific propellant, it dissolutes the polymer and suspends the polymer's chains, so both the resin and the propellant then become one web fluid. Upon pressure being released, the propellant evaporates instantaneously. The web fluid repolymerizes upon contact with oxygen, and the polymer chains are then allowed to form based on nozzle diameter. For some brief history, these silly string-based formulas were originally discovered by a channel called Brain Ion, now known as GearX, all the way back in 2012. An extremely smart chemist who honestly revolutionized and pioneered the web fluid game as we know it. And that's where I came in. I originally replicated his formula and his ratios exact so I can get a pretty good base understanding of how it worked. And throughout the journey of my channel, I've made over 19 different iterations of that formula, each one better than the last in some way. I've been successfully able to add new polymers, surfactants, emulsifiers, and even an epoxy resin that I was able to synthesize myself. And while we're not anywhere close to web swinging, you should check out the Amazing's video on that, by the way. That, however, isn't my goal personally. My goal with web fluid / web shooters is to create a wrist-mounted, non-lethal, incapacitation polymer extrusion device. This device would obviously be capable of subduing an assailant safer than pepper spray, a taser, or even a firearm would be. Plus, it's always on your wrist ready to go at a moment's notice. We are still a very, very long way from this. So in the meantime, I'm going to try and upgrade these current formulas and see what we can make out of them. I'll touch on a few different formulas in this video. However, I still am going to be secretive about what goes into my formulas just because, well, you all know why. So with that all said, let's make some web fluid. So first things first, Human Spider is the first person to actually test out the polystyrene MEK formula, but Brain Ion was the first one to actually suggest it on his channel. Okay, so let's take a closer look at exactly how this formula works. Dissolving styrofoam or another polystyrene product in acetone is actually a spectacular demonstration of the solubility of this plastic in an organic solvent. It also illustrates just how much air is in the styrofoam. All you need to do is pour a bit of acetone into a beaker, then place styrofoam beads, packing peanuts, chunks of foam, or even a styrofoam cup into the container. Here I'm using chunks of foam. The styrofoam will then dissolve into the acetone much like sugar dissolves in hot water. Since styrofoam is mostly air, you may be surprised about how much, or in the end how little, foam will dissolve in the acetone. Styrofoam is made of polystyrene foam. When the polystyrene dissolves in the acetone, the air in the foam is then released. This makes it look like you're dissolving a massive quantity of material into a small volume of liquid. You can see a less dramatic version of the same effect by dissolving other polystyrene items in acetone, such as disposable razors, plastic yogurt containers, plastic mailers, and CD jewel cases. But as you can see, acetone just makes this polystyrene putty. At this stage, it's way too thick to be shot out of an atomizer, and I clearly don't know of any propellants that would be able to suspend this polymer. So we need something else. MEK, or methyl ethyl ketone, is another ketone class of organic compounds characterized by the presence of a carbonyl group which the carbon atom is covalently bonded to an oxygen atom. Now this is definitely harsher than acetone, however the results we get are much more that of dissolution. Here we can see that only a few drops of the MEK and the polystyrene create a single liquid solution. So now the polystyrene molecules are suspended enough into the solvent to where when sprayed out of an atomizer, the MEK will evaporate and leave behind strands of polystyrene binding back together. This same effort can be achieved with other solvents such as D-limonene. Now there are other variations to this formula as well. One main one being types of polystyrene fabric glues. These are craft glues that are acetone based and have certain plastics such as polystyrene and polypropylene. Fortunately, these already come in a resin-like mixture, so you can just use acetone. However, the evaporation speed of MEK is much greater. So how do we upgrade this formula? Well, honestly, it's pretty easy, and if you have access to a 3D printer, you're already ahead of the game. All we need to do is essentially mix the two formulas together and increase the polystyrene content in the polypropylene MEK resin mixture. Then we add in our special ingredient and let that dissolve into the mixture. Once that's completed, we can now go to the testing station and see how we did. Alright, thanks for watching everybody. I really appreciate that. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, because next time we're going to be talking about the Polystyrene formulas. And I think you're all going to want to stick around for that. Thank you again. This is Blood Spider out.